High Street. East High Street. Turn left on High Street and turn right. Street and turn right. Right on East Avenue, and keep left. Pierre Street. 2 miles. Keep right. Switch right. Riverside Drive. Beach, right on the street. Right on your street and turn right. Right on Edward Street.
Assalamualaikum. Assalamualaikum. That's your Zoom link?
No, I'm not. This is my stream yard. I'll not be on YouTube. I'm not on.
Oh.
Brother, okay, I'm gonna say we can put that in here. Yeah, you can make a whole out of this.
Yeah, he ain't doing nothing. I'm trying to figure out why.
Yeah. No. See, this other
We're
one.
trying to make a little stand so we can. So they trying to make a Zoom.
Yeah, we on Zoom. We already on the Zoom. Man, we need to get this crazy, man. Huh?
I, I guess I'm trying to.
وعليكم ورحمة الله. وعليكم ورحمة الله. لا إله إلا الله، لا إله إلا الله، لا شريك له. يكفي الله سبحان الله. الحمد لله. الله أكبر. الله أكبر، الله أكبر، لا إله إلا الله، لا إله إلا الله، لا شريك له. اللهم بارك لنا محمد وعلى العالمين إنه كان مجيد. اللهم بارك لنا محمد وعلى محمد العالمين إنه كان مجيد. الفاتحة. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين آمين. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. تكبير. تكبير. Trying to get organized, I keep zoom on. Zoom it on. Here. Yeah, I'm in no problem. It's not working. I got this before. I just saw this give me a call. Y'all made so what time you you have to plug that in. So
Yeah, we all plugged in.
It's not. You know anything? I'll leave that. Khalil. It's okay. Give everyone, give everyone your number. Yes. Yeah.
I got one.
We pay $50. I'm not selling the whole thing. No, I have pieces of it. Okay. No, they got to go to the left and they turn it on. If they don't turn it on, then they don't. They got it's the fee, right? We've already finished the before. I've been down here. Oh, okay.
It popped right up.
Yeah. No.
Aki, this ain't even working. I got 2% battery.
Oh, okay.
We're gonna die in a minute.
You got your card?
Thank you.
That's why we get it. And help my side down on microphone, people make it out. Scott Harris, significant participation. You know, and then there's many that black people, you know, not for money, money-wise, don't have these, but we haven't had nobody.
Yeah.
What was it? Been doing this, this is our 5th year. And I think we've been trying to do this for a number of years, but 5 years ago, we were doing it under the auspices and work with make suggestions and other for the partner engagement thing. But we've been trying to, but we couldn't get any traction beforehand. So we'll have this presentation of the awards, and that was 3 contestants, 3 contributors, and we want to award them their certificates and their literacy award. And this is anyway, this is Sister Fatima Nassoud, and I believe she is our first place winner. She's our first place winner, and she's going to read her presentation. This is the daughter of Dr. Salima and Muhammad, and the granddaughter of Nuruddin Fahmy. That's his granddaughter. And the dream. Yeah, so that is her granddaughter. Yeah. So let us give her and she reads her essay.
My name is Fatima Nassoud. I did Harriet Tubman. Tremendous role in the freedom of African American people today. Harriet Tubman was born on the Caribbean around March 1822. Her family fought and supported. She was born to her father, Harriet Tubman. Harriet's parents was on different plantations of hours away. The 8th century. Harriet Tubman's parents were enslaved in her. She was owned by Edward Brothers, who got paid $60 a year for her. Harriet was still enslaved when Harriet was enslaved. At the age of 13, she almost died. She was hit in the head that wasn't even. This incident caused her to have epileptic seizures that she fought with her life. At the age of 25, she got married to John Tubman, and later changed her name to Harriet, her mom's name, and Tubman, her husband. Just 2 years later, she found out that she was going to be sold down south rather than be separated from her family. She escaped slavery and traveled a few hours with the lady, and later on went back to help other enslaved people experience freedom. Even though she was a literate, she went back and forth on the railroad 10 times to experience 70s slaves to escape freedom. Even though she was a literate, she had a keen sense of direction and deception, which aided her in navigating the state paths. She faced numerous dangers during her mission, including the threat of capture, harsh weather conditions, and hostile terrain. Tubman's work on the Underground Railroad made her a symbol of resistance against slavery and oppression. Harriet was given an award for her leadership, leading others to freedom like the political figure. Harriet Tubman was the first African American woman to lead Civil War and Union troops in Quebec. She helped liberate 750 enslaved people in the Sondahi River Raid off their plantations. Tubman's commitment to freedom and equality led her to join the women's suffrage movement, working alongside prominent figures like Susan. Then later went on to collaborate with abolitionists like William Boyd Garrison, Frederick Douglass, and in 1869, Harriet decided to get married against Nelson Davis, a Civil War veteran. Harriet Tubman was a devoted Christian, attributing her strength and success to her faith. She was famous for her role in the Methodist Zion Church, supporting its efforts for social justice. When Harriet Tubman reached her 70s, she decided to move to Auburn, New York. Harriet also became good friends with Abraham Lincoln, who was visiting freedom. Lincoln decided to give her 7 acres of land for freedom to build on and start a family of her own. On this land, she decided to open an old age home for formerly enslaved people and an infirmary offering free health care to all people that needed regardless of their race. Harriet Tubman's legacy stems on the practices of great fighters around the world. Tubman's contributions were largely during her lifetime. She was well known for her humility and courage, always putting in the other people for other people. She passed away on March 10, 1913, at the age of 91. But her impact on the fight for freedom and equality inspired her. Harriet Tubman's life has been commemorated in numerous books, films, national parks, and monuments during that period. I decided to choose Harriet Tubman for my essay because she's a really inspiring woman to accomplish great things despite all the odds of trafficking. She did not allow the growth of the university. This inspires me because the same is true for me in the world we live in today. I cannot allow the way in which books set limitations on my own. Like Harriet Tubman, we all have to strive against all odds to achieve our goals.
We're not going to get from the
Yeah. I don't know. I think that's religious right there. This is number 2.
So we want to thank our young sister for the excellent presentation and the young Harriet Tubman. One of the earlier, I think, programs that we did, I think we had video and might have been taken from the movie with Harriet. She was running with the Underground Railroad, and it made it very historical and important individual in our struggle and our fight for freedom. We're glad that at least we have this one screen. If we don't get it with the other, we can try to combine it. But I had to do that. I have to have that for my presentation.
Okay.
So the next awardee is
Anaya.
Anaya. That's
I can't read it.
Anaya Sterling. And I think she's a second place winner. And she is
Alhamdulillah. I wanted to accept this for Anaya because I thought I had her answer, but I don't have it with me. But I wanted to accept it because Anaya, as you all know, is very shy. She doesn't do a lot of talking, doesn't participate in a lot, but she's a very, very, very smart girl. And she mentioned to me some time ago that she was fascinated by Madam C.J. Walker. Madam C.J. Walker is considered to be the first African-American female millionaire. And she is noted for her work in the beauty industry. So when she made it clear that she was entering this contest and that Madam C.J. Walker was her subject, I was pretty fascinated by that as well, because she had no idea that she is an extension of Madam C.J. Walker, as I am a graduate of Elma B. Beauty Academy, who was an actual student of. So this actually gave me an opportunity to share something with Anaya about myself that she did not know. I actually was a part of the beauty industry for more than 20 years, starting in '84 to whatever. But anyway, I just wanted to accept this and say that she's fascinated by that and had no idea that she's only one person removed from the Madam C.J. Walker system. She's Nuruddin's granddaughter.
This thing is not fixed. I looked on there and I saw they got two. I thought this is not fixed though.
Nuruddin's granddaughter. She is Sister Christine Factory's granddaughter.
Right.
Akila Factory.
Akila is her mother.
Thank you. The third place.
Y'all had a smart.
They got smart. Jenna. Anybody represent Jenna? She was our third place winner.
You can use it for recording.
But we,
You can use it to
so,
record what he's saying. You can use it for recording, but you can use it for amplifying.
it's important to engage our young
See what I'm
people.
saying? He can talk into it so that the people that's not here can hear it. You can't take no speakers.
Handheld, so I hope I'll touch on that.
That might help. That might help you.
We had
I don't
to
know
make
if it's
a
linked
little
to what we got
change-
going on.
make a change in the program. I think Brother Memphis, he is on here, but he called me yesterday evening to tell me that he would not be able to present, that he had some sinus or laryngitis or something, and he couldn't hardly speak. I guess he called me about 4 o'clock, about 4 o'clock yesterday, let me know. So I sent him my best love and the best wishing.
I don't even know if Willis is getting it, because he's showing me that he ain't even.
Okay. Yeah, we should. Yeah, we should be eating as we go along, because no later than 5, probably before, we'll be shutting down, and we have to be out. They're gonna lock the doors. So we gotta be cleaned up and whatever, about 6 o'clock, we gotta be out of here. So we won't be able to mill around and anything, we won't be able to mill around. So let me give my thanks to my wife for her working with me to get this presentation. And by the way, I think this is the banner. We had a couple of banners made, and trying to get all of this together, I went off and left them in the media room. I brought everything else about the food and this and that, banners. And I didn't discover that till I was in there. I said, okay, I got these hooks to try to hang them up, and I got duct tape and masking tape. Then I looked, I said, well, I don't have the banners, so I don't have to worry about all of that other. So that's one. Okay. Do that. All right. I'm looking great. That'd be great. Okay. So. What do you want to do?
You check out when you take all the time, you know. What do you mean?
So we had, so I thank my wife for the work that she did in preparing helped me prepare this PowerPoint. You know, we asked a number of people, we had, there are people beforehand that we had told them months ago that we're gonna ask you about helping us with Juneteenth. We got positive responses. We're so much appreciative for Sister Shaniqua Muhammad. She really, she worked to get the young people and to get these essay writers out. And so we really, even though she told me she may very well be out of the country. So we appreciate her. And like I said, my wife for preparing this PowerPoint and a lot of the food prep that she was doing. And I'm going to thank my homeboy, my Christian minister friend that prepared this smoked chicken. I asked, there were others I asked, and we were paying. We weren't just trying to get any freebie.
What you need?
But we got full response, very full response. And so, you know, I've been doing it. I've been wanting to get this, present this Juneteenth for a number of years. But I was only able to get some traction when we worked with the Pioneer Appreciation. This is the fifth year. So we hope that it grows. We hope that some young people come forward. They've been doing this in New York under his email Malcolm Jabbar, for over 30 years. And New Jersey now, they're doing it, and they have a Juneteenth committee. They don't have one or two, they got a Juneteenth. The only somebody I have consistent help from there has been from Imam Samaj group business. That's the only somebody that can consistent help from. Willing to contribute financially and present and do whatever else was necessary. So we thank him very much for that. Mr. Houston, my homeboy, you know Houston, yeah, that's who cooked this. And so if there's anything that you don't like, there's the complaint room is right around the corner out there.
He said, yes, it's live.
Oh, okay.
You can take that right out there, put that in there. If you want to save it, then save it when you come next year to the meeting, the planning meeting, then bring those complaints and suggestions, which you did. I'll see how it might be off the chain today. That check. And I know
Same thing, I got 1%. It died. He just plugged. Yeah, he plugged me into the computer. That's the only way I was able to do it.
I don't think that email go on. I know.
There we go. So we are good to go. Thank you very much.
That's the sister. That's the sister that said she had somebody that needed some other. Did I introduce you to the first meeting? And the Oak Cliff resources over there, the match, from the South videos.
I recall you said somebody, but it might be the same. He been out there.
She said, but I ain't see you no more. I said, well, I've been driving trucks. I should have gave him my phone number or whatever. I think I might have.
So there were, a number of people we asked to be presenters and, they didn't really respond, or they weren't comfortable, or for some reason or the other, this is not, I didn't want to do this, this is not a Tala show. This was an initiative of Imam Warfadi Muhammad.
Right.
And, like I said, they were doing this and Imam Yahya, I was talking to him, they've been doing this for several years down in Jacksonville now. But Texas, the place where it's most important. You know, but I guess we're the last person to get the news. I guess we're the last one to respond. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's exactly what I'm gonna stop. Well, I said I was gonna stop giving me something to eat. I just looked over, well, they gonna feed me.
We don't get this thing out. We have to review it.
It's on the big.
On the big screen, and we'll roll that back a little bit.
So, now, do we need?
Okay. What you
I'm
saying?
saying, say the time, do we need that?
Huh?
Say the time, do we have to do that?
Yeah, I need, my presentation, I mean, there's no presentation for me without this. This is mine alone. This is PowerPoint.
So you gotta move all this over here?
No, I can do this from here. It's on the screen there. It's on the screen. So I don't need to move it.
You can see it.
Yeah, you can see it. So but I need to regulate from here.
Yeah, okay. Very good. He's doing it right. He started eating now, boy. He started eating now. That's- Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. Started eating. That really might work, but- While we were doing that, I didn't hear everybody eating the food, but the mad out of it. You know, we was that time, we didn't still eat.
It's 2:30 now. It's still coming.
So,
Yeah. 2.5 hours before 5 o'clock. So I don't think, I'm talking 2.5 hours.
Yeah.
hey. In there, in that back seat. There's the cardboard. Back seat on the right hand side. I needed that time. Back in the back seat, stuck in that back pocket.
Yeah, I give me a good, give me a good night rest. I get up tomorrow, move that stuff.
Now, I tell you what, if you'd like to say a couple words, well, I want to text you. Oh, I'm not worried about sound, because I have, I'm not worried about sound, so I'm not worried about sound. Yeah, I told him. You know, tomorrow, remind you again that we can start eating now. Yeah, I've said that before, but to remind you again, he's saying that we can start eating now. So. Now, tomorrow.
Assalamu alaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen. It's a blessing to see all of these faces here. This represents Dallas, Texas. This is our home, Dallas, Texas. This is us. If you went over there, you went over there, but this still is Dallas, Texas. We started off on Martin Luther King on Forest Avenue. We was over there for a while. Then, when the transition came, we moved to Westmoreland, right? Huh? Sir? Okay, yeah, you talking about beach, Temple Beach on Bear Street, yeah. Okay, so any other? Yeah, that was on Bear Street. Yeah. That was Imam Liji Balal. And from that masjid, from Liji Balal masjid came running back for the Dallas Cowboys. If anybody know that the running back for the Dallas Cowboys that came from Masjid 48, Dwayne Thomas. Yeah, he came from that masjid over there, and he was with Imam Liji Balal. That's for those who know it, brother. Imam Hatem is shaking his head, so we know it. He's one of the best running backs in the NFL, and he was a Muslim. So our progress went from South Dallas, it went to Westmoreland and North Dallas. So we had the masjid over in Westmoreland. I don't know how many people remember that masjid. Okay, and Imam Kazim Ahmed was the imam over there, and once they started got it up and going, then Imam WDM Muhammad, he purchased, him and Muhammad Ali purchased 2604 South Hardwood. That's how we got that. And that was the present day masjid for Dallas, Texas. Okay? So this is our history for those who know it. And you know, your history is very important for you to keep with your life. But you can't separate from your history. You know, you can abandon it, but you can't separate from it because that's your history. Praise be to Allah. So most of us in here, let me see the hands of those who are founder, co-founder of the Dallas Masjid of Al-Islam. Founder, co-founder. Yeah, if that's if you was there, you're founder, co-founder. Hello? Yeah. Huh? 1980? Okay. So these are things that's very, very significant for our history. Huh? This is our history for us moving in here. And Sister Marlene, her husband, 68. Yeah, you know why, right? Okay. 68. Yeah, Imam Isaac Kareem. May Allah's peace and blessing be upon him. He did a lot of work here now. And if you go down to the old convention center, Memorial Auditorium, they got a nice picture of him now. Yeah, they recognize him for his work back in there. So that's all of us. Whatever one do, that represents all of us. If it's good. But if you do something out there that's bad, that don't represent us. You know, but only the good is what we recognize. Allahu Akbar. Whatever's tight. So but we one community, and this is as the brother said, this is an initiative that Imam WD Muhammad left with us. You know, the 4th of July is coming up next week or week after next. So we have what is called New World Patriotism Day. That's us. That's our thinking. New World Patriotism Day and Coalition for Good Government. We need some politicians. That's right. We need some of the young people we need politicians to go down and become city council, state representative, congressman and woman. That's what we need to represent us as a community. That's right. Yeah. So the New World Patriotism Day, that's hot. When we started talking about New World Patriotism, boy, a lot of people, they tuck their tail and they started getting out of there because it's too hot. Huh? And some people, oh, we don't talk about hate. We represent politics. Ain't no hate in politics. Some people think that you hating on America just because you start talking about politics. But politics is some of the, it's a very, very controversial leadership.
Yeah.
Because that's where you're gonna find all your corrupt leaders at in politics. Huh?
Yeah.
And they got their hand off in the Benjamin cookie jar. You see, so I'm in my little presentation, I'm gonna talk about that and Juneteenth. You want me to be quiet, sister? Allahu Akbar. So we as a group of people, as Muslims, we really need to practice on love and respecting each other more. Is that right? Love and respecting each other more. Is that right, Brother Ansari?
That's right.
Don't disrespect each other. We need to love and respect each other. Like there. All right? Because this is our community, whether we know it or not. So Allah said in the Quran, said, you are the best people evolved. That's us. That's what Allah said. He said, you are the best people that has evolved you ready for me to stop there? For the best of mankind. So we have to get ourselves together. We have to lead the world. Not only just ourselves and our family community. We're here to lead the world. Are you ready to lead the world? Yeah. Takbir. You should be, you can read the Quran, pray all day, fast all day, but you got to go to work. You got to step up. You got to get out there. So a lot of times people hear that, they say, oh, not me, all I want to do is just pray. I'm just a spiritual bird, just praying. You got to go to work, buddy, man, right? So we've been working a long time. We got a track record. We got a track record of work, amilus, salihati, work in the community. Long track record. So we're not bragging on it. But we had to do more. All of us can step up and do more. Huh? Yeah. Good to get everybody to eat. Come up and get some of this good food. And we have a program called it's a conference call every Sunday morning from 10 to 12. And we do a nationwide conference call, study group. And we use Imam Muhammad's material and lectures. We study it. You know, you think you heard it? Go back over it again. Huh? Go back over the language. We were so excited in 75. We were hearing it. It was sounding good, but we really didn't understand it. Right? we wasn't understanding. But now we taking it in, digesting it. And it's raising our IQ.
Yeah.
It raised you up.
Okay, now,
Yes, sir.
thank you.
All right.
We're gonna get ready to start. So we don't have a mic.
Uh-oh.
So we don't have a mic, so we're gonna have to try to talk over everybody. I can talk kind of loud. But this thing we have, the theme for this Juneteenth is remembering our freedom, struggling to recover it, and striving to advance its future. Remembering our freedom, struggling to recover it, and striving to advance its future. We're gonna try to talk over freedom. Freedom is the definition I've given, is the ability to advance in a field of interest, unfettered, that is unyoked. Freedom to advance in a field of interest that is unfettered, that is to be beneficial to the achievement of a goal that you determine, not that someone else determines, but that you determine, a goal that enriches and establishes you for success. And it is more than not having a physical chain on your neck or a yoke on your neck. But it is also to have the freedom of what is operating on the neck, the brain, the thinking, to have the freedom of thought that liberates you, and the freedom to execute your own authority. So it's more than physical freedom.
Live stream.
We're talking about a complete and a comprehensive freedom. So freedom becomes very, and we have been struggling as a people for these last 500 and more years.
Okay, how many go 7 weeks? Okay.
We've been struggling as a people for these last 500 or more years to recover our freedom. Remembering our freedom. The importance of memory. Memory, or the absence of memory. Can you all hear me?
Kind of hard. It's kind of hard with all the talking.
The importance of memory. The lack of memory. This is why memory is important. This is why I chose the board of this thing. Without memory, it's like traveling. Traveling without memory is like being on a wagon with loose or wobbly wheels and no trail signs to guide you. Memory allows the individuals and groups to recall and draw upon past events to frame their understanding of and their behavior within the context of their present circumstance. Memory allows you to do that.
Right.
Memory strengthens our sense of identity and purpose, and it bonds our relationships. Memory allows us to learn from the past, to grow and develop our personality and character over the years. As Malik Shabazz, that is Malcolm X, we come and know him, he said, of all of our endeavors, history is best qualified to reward our research. So if you have no memory of yourself and of your history, in fact, if you had no memory, you couldn't perform your profession, you couldn't walk, without memory, you will have no retention of knowledge of how to do anything. So this is why memory is so important, and this is why we chose it as part of the theme. Picture that's showing there up on the wall that you see on the projection. That is the picture of what is called the Rift Valley. That's a picture of the Rift Valley. That is in the area around Kenya and Ethiopia. And this is the area where the anthropologists and people who study human history tell us that modern man developed in East Africa along this Rift Valley. They estimate, they give a time frame, they said modern man, they give a time frame of 200,000 years, modern man. So as we understand in religion and as the anthropologists and others tell us, we all have a common origin. We have a common origin. Religion tells us that we began from a common human parent. And it gives that in the language of Adam. And in religion, it's really talking about more than, not male. That's really not what that is even addressing. What is to tell us that we have a common human parent, and he named them Adam, both male and female. So this should tell us biologically we have a common origin. And that common origin was not in Europe. That common origin was not in Greece. It wasn't in India. It wasn't in any of those places.
Out of this Rift Valley, human beings emerged. And they give this period about 200,000 BC. And from that Rift Valley, they spread out of Ethiopia, that area there, Kenya, Ethiopia. They spread all over the world. So if you're looking at the map there, all of these different continents and places, they spread out of Africa, and they go into Arabia, they go into Europe, they go into India, and they go into the America and the island from this common origin. So and in moving to these different places, the environment changed them in terms of their skin colors, their hair texture, their eye formation. So some lost pigment, some hair became straight, and various other things, but these are just all environmental factors. So we have this common. Flowing from what you call from south to north. Generally, they like to think of most rivers flowing from north to south, but it flows of south to north. So what you have when you talk about Upper Egypt is south. Lower Egypt is north, because the Nile is flowing into the Mediterranean. So before there's Egypt, then there's Nubia. So then these people, they move out into Nubia on up further north and into Egypt. And but then they become distinct, developing groups. And Nubia is one that supplied much and most of the gold for ancient Egypt at a later time. They were the ones that supplied the gold, the Nuba people, which is now Sudan. And the Sudan, actually Sudan, it means black. And you'll find that many of these ancient earlier civilizations, whether or not you're talking about now in Iraq, and they had Mesopotamia and earlier Sumer, and some of the scholars have said that Sumer means the land of the black king. So you have, and the reason I'm mentioning this, because if you have in your mind that your history is only as a slave, and you've lost the history of yourself as a free, developing, vibrant social entity, then you won't have respect for yourself. You won't have respect.
That's right.
So they move up out of Nubia, they move up into Egypt. And there's separation between Upper and Lower Egypt. So then you have these different governmental entities developed. You got Upper Egypt, then you got Lower Egypt. So you got these two distinct governmental entities. They cooperate and they compete with each other. But initially they come from the same group, but they move and they establish different governmental orders. So one, what they call them I think they call it proto-dynastic period, before the first Egyptian dynasty. This is the time that some of you may remember from the movie, with what's the former wrestler's name? The Scorpion King. The Rock. Yeah. So then this proto-dynastic period is a time of what really in Egyptian history of the Scorpion King. That's what that based on for real, historically. The Scorpion King. So this is before Egypt is united into a unified dynasty. And Upper Egypt has one crown, Lower Egypt has another crown. And that's a picture that you see up there. One crown on the left, I think, and the other crown in the middle there, one for Upper Egypt, one for Lower Egypt. And then when they are united, then they're put together. And then you see on the right-hand side, you see the double crown that symbolizes the unification. And now the Catholic Church, the Pope, they utilize much of that formation. For those who know, that's borrowed from Egypt. So this is the double crown. When you have after the Scorpion King, the first dynastic unification by many, M-E-N-E-S, many are north. So this is when you have the unification of Egypt. And this is all part of remembering your past, remembering that you're more than just chattel, an object for an asset that was brought to America. So this is the point that I'm getting. Now, this picture that you see up there, ethnic identity of the ancient Egyptians. This picture comes from the tomb of Ramesses III in 1200 BC. And it is to show that the ancient Egyptians, they saw themselves as no different from the indigenous Africans. And they have a picture here of an Egyptian on the left-hand side there in that first picture, seen by himself, that is the black type, and the Indo-European seen on the right of that first picture. And then in the second picture, they show other Africans who are looking just like this Egyptian. And then they show the Semite on the other side. A lot of times you'll see these pictures change as different people migrate in, and as they come in as conquerors, maybe coming first as students, but then subsequently coming in as conquerors. And then much of the art and other things are changed. Now, and then the people, they mix up and they have various, they have an intermixture, so they begin to take different morphologies and different shapes also. But the original Egyptians and all of this was the pyramid building beforehand, coming out of Nubia, what is now Sudan, coming out of that area, going up the Nile and establishing Egypt, up in Lower Egypt, and then this unification that takes place under Norman, Menes, the first dynastic king of ancient Egypt. Next, what you see. So now, as society and the social order developing, you see now what is called the step pyramid. So now they're starting in the pyramid building time. And in this period of time, we are talking about this first dynastic unification was between 3150 BCE and 2890 BCE. So we're talking about, you're talking about what? 5,000 years, and this is a conservative estimate with this first dynastic period, maybe 5,000, 6,000 years ago. Then in about 2670 to 2650 is where you have this step pyramid by the pharaoh Dozier, or Joshua, D-J-O-S-E-R. And this pyramid here, this is the beginning. They begin this is, and you find these kind of forms down in Sudan that precede what they have in Upper Egypt or in Lower Egypt. You find it on down in what was then Nubia. You find this development starting there. And the same picture of this step pyramid, it shows that little diminutive man there on the right, that's Imhotep. Yeah, the real Imhotep. He's very much like, looks like the squaw of the, what you might call the pixie. Little short, diminutive type of guy. He was a great architect and a multi-talented genius. That little man right there. Little man that carried a big stick. And he was the one that started building the step pyramid for those. After that, with the pyramid building stages, then the Sphinx, the great Sphinx come in. And in this great Sphinx, when Napoleon and other Europeans got there, they saw these Negroid features show, so many of the artifacts you see, the noses are blown off. Because they're trying to hide the history and hide their identity.
That's right.
So that Sphinx, we're talking about a time period there of about 2630 BCE. Then after that, the pyramid era continues and they begin to develop and refine these pyramids more. You find a lot of them in Giza. That pyramid that you see in the center there, and I understand at one time, I think it might have been covered, I was told, it was a limestone or either a certain gold. It's a very dazzling image when it was in its early stage. And there's a lot of science that are in these structures. They are not just been throw up some big rock. And the Japanese and others have been trying to figure out how did they move these stones. They tried with equipment, and they have not been able to figure it out yet how they did that. And so we had Greeks that came in much later. And we had people like Pythagoras, who we get from the mathematics of Pythagorean theorem. But they had these principles, they had to have these principles in order to build the pyramid. That and much other science and astronomy and many other things like stellar calculations and that kind of thing. And these were African people. They give you the impression and in fact, they actually tried to say that Egypt was in Europe. That Egypt was in Europe. And the same thing, Egypt belongs to Africa, just as really, in early times, Saudi Arabia really belongs to Africa. The foliage, the animals, and everything else. And you can see when you look at it, you see just that break in there. But it really is for the African cut, and in earlier times, it was just considered a pharaoh. They want to remove this from the memory. Now, I have up there Ramesses II. This may or may not be Ramesses III, but I think when some years ago when Anissa was I think the Southwestern Bell, he was hosting one of the receptionists or something for the Ramesses exhibit that came. Big, tall. It was definitely Africa featured Ramesses II, who some say may have been what they call the pharaoh of the so-called expulsion out of Egypt with the Hebrews. And even those Hebrews now are not the European Jews that we have today. They are converted people from the Coptic fountains, and they really don't have that much historical connection to the ancient Hebrews. But that's another story. Now, this lady here, this pharaoh was a pharaoh. Hatshepsut. He was a pharaoh, and I think her husband, the king, he was the wife of, I think, Tutmosis II. Tutmosis II, and second, yeah. And she was the wife. And later she becomes a pharaoh. She begins to rule as a regent. And then suddenly she becomes a pharaoh, and she wears the false beard because this was the aesthetics, and this was the rituals that they had. The other guys, they had these false beards. So she was a pharaoh, one of two that was known. That was one that was earlier than she was, and she also ruled as a regent and as a pharaoh. I'm not going to take the time to note in my notes and that. And this, there were various, after the Great Pyramid building, there were other dynasties that came in. Within about 1650 to 1523 BC, there was the incursion of foreigners under the name of Hyksos, the Hyksos people. And they represented the 15th and the 17th dynasty. Subsequently, they were expelled by the original Nuba in what constituted the 18th dynasty. They were expelled by them. They were, some say they were Asiatic shepherd people that came in, but the Nuba came back and they expelled them and took back over the leadership of Egypt. Some as it's called Kemet at different times and the various other names. At that particular time, that the Nubia with the 18th dynasty, that they come back to take over Egypt. At that particular time, when you look at this 18th dynasty, we're talking about 1550 to 1200 something BCE. And this represents the new kingdom. And at that particular time, now in the Mesoamerica, that is Central or Middle America, you see these big heads up there, like you see on the display down, the old man, old man, down in the Yucatan area, down in Central America. You see these big, they used to have pictures of these at Love Field. Years ago, they had these big heads. They had pictures of them there. But these people here, they represent, again, we said all these people moving out, they represent Africans, all of this, and they begin to associate them with this 18th Nubian dynasty. Why? Because of the helmets that they had on, and also they had certain plaques that they wore that came out, and it was definitely, and the little berets that went on the back of them, they definitely could identify them as belonging to the 18th dynasty of ancient Egypt. This is what will really probably surprise some of y'all. If you look at, you see that picture up there. See that picture up there? That person there? That was King Tang. King Tang. And he was part of what's called the Shang dynasty. The Shane also called me Nakaji, which literally they say means black. Now and man, that's he. King Tang and the Shang dynasty was responsible for unifying China, to form their first civilization in 1600 and 1046 BC. The Shang dynasty. And I have something that I just got some years ago, was Chinese woman that we know we can trace our origins back to these African people.
Mhm.
In 1069 to 664 BC, in that period of time, you have Egypt. This is the last major substantial ruling dynasty, the 25th dynasty. That is also definitely a Nubian dynasty, mostly purely African dynasty, the 25th dynasty. And I'm trying to think, I forget some important people in there. I won't go into that. But so now Egypt is getting ready to begin to go into the decline. In after 664 BC, this is what's called becoming to the late period. Now, remember we talked about in what was it, about 3300, 3200 BCE. This was earlier dynastic formation. Now that's 3,000 years. What they say before the common era, some say before Christ, before the common era. Now, in 333 BC, so we're talking about 5,000 years, almost 5,000 years or more later. Now here comes the Greeks. Pyramid building, all of this stuff is done, all of this is over. The Sphinx is built, all of these great achievements. Now, Egypt is in decline now. They're in decline. And so the Greeks come over. They first come as students. They came as students, and many came and studied for 30 and 40 years in the Egyptian mystery system. For long periods of time. They came and they studied the philosophy, they studied the science. So they came as students. And they used to say, even the Greeks used to say in their religion, that their gods went back to Ethiopia to live and dwell. So they know the history of these ancient people. But in modern times, all of this has been covered up and been hidden so that we can remember these great achievements of our past. And we've said what the importance of history, how it affects your ability to navigate and perceive your potential to go forward in the future. So the Greeks come in here now in about, like I say, 300, 330 BC. And also with, I think, Alexander, Aristotle, one of the pupils of Alexander, one of the pupils of Aristotle, they raid and they sack the library, and they take the book, and they take the knowledge, and they claim the knowledge. So yeah, we have, and I'm not just criticizing here, because a lot of good things happen. We have our Greek sororities and our Greek fraternities, and not all of them have enough knowledge to be big time conspirators. They don't definitely not. But the big point I want to point out is that these people that we emulate and we so admire, they came to study as African students.
Right.
They borrowed and stole. James George stole the legacy. We must replace it. This is what he said. So they borrowed, and much of the things they corrupted, but they brought science too. They brought science. They took the sciences, and they made advancements, and they did things with that. But this is much, much later. So that was 332 in that area of BC, up until 30 BC. Now in 30 BC, now the Romans come in. They come into Africa now. The Romans, they come in. And they come in and they initially there was Carthage. You know about the great Hannibal? But you look at these pictures they painted of the Hannibal, you think Hannibal was a European.
That's right.
Although he got an elephant, that's straight out there. He got an elephant going across the Alps and all this. You think he was a European, these pictures they show you. And Carthage was in what is now Tunisia, in that area. That's what Carthage was. And they only were able to take and to do Carthage because of the help from the African power, Numidia, because they wanted to have self-rule. And so they allied with the Romans to help them take Carthage. So I'm going to try to pass on to this so I can get on to rules here. So the Romans come in at about 30 BC. And then later on, you have the Arab incursion. In the you talk about 610 to 633, then you begin to have the movement of Al-Islam and the movement of Arabs and others into these areas of Africa. And many converts are made in North Africa and many down in what's called the Senegambia area. That's down on the west coast of Africa. So this is this other picture that I have coming up here now. And look, if you look and you see, look at Arabia. You see Arabia there? Look like it just got this split with the Red Sea there, and they show how what they call the movement of the continent, how these things naturally were all at one time. I forget what this idea is called. I can't think right now. But how these countries were all joined together at one time, and then they separated out. And so out of this area when you have Egypt, so you see Sudan down lower, and you have Yemen down there, which is Lower Arabia, And so out of this area, this is the area where the Queen of Saba was, and she became known as Queen Sheba. She's out of that area, Saba. And this is one of the reasons why when the mystic teacher W.D. Farad came, and he in Detroit, in Amtrak, Michigan, and he had the Honorable Elijah Muhammad told him to move to Yemen Street because he wanted them to identify with these people of Saba, knowing that they had people, Queen Sheba, Queen of Saba. He wanted to know that you had that greatness in your history. So he's a mystic teacher, and he's spinning his yarn. But he's trying to give you this identification. And also up around in this area, going to the next slide, this is a picture of what they call the golden age of the Moors. So about a controversy comes up. Who are the Moors? We had the Black Moors, the Tawny Moors. This is the famous character in Shakespeare's Othello, the Moor of Othello. And you have these Moors present. And they were part also of people that go up into Spain. Initially at the invitation of, I can't think of the count now, they invited them because he was having some dispute with some of his fellow Christian and other governmental leaders. And he asked the leader down there if he would send a contingent up to help him. And they made alliances with each other. I think it was Count Julian, I believe. But anyway, so in 711, they go out of North Africa. They go up these Moors, these Berbers and Arabs, and a large predominant contingent of even the Muslims. They don't really promote and say that much about the Moorish African involvement. They cover that up. So they go up in 711, and if you look back, I'm not going to go back to the slide, but if you look back, you'll see that there's just a small distance between Spain and North Africa. Some say it's so close you can throw a rock across it. That may be a literal exaggeration, but it's very, very close. And in that little space of distance between that little strait there, because Gibraltar, the hill of Gibraltar is on one side, and Africa is on the other side. It was General Tariq that went up in. He was the general that went up in there on the invitation of Count Julian. He went up in there and brought these first on a surveying mission, then brought other troops up in there, and it was in 711. And there are those that some who say that's why they say, oh, thank heaven for 7-Eleven, because they brought knowledge and enlightenment into a Europe that was dead and that was sleepy and that was backwards. Weren't even taking baths, so they brought new science and hygiene and morals into that culture. So that strait that's there, with a mountain on one side called Gebel, a Jebel, or Gebel, meaning hill, a mountain. And when Tari came in there, they began to name that strait as his hill. They said, this is Gebel Tari. And eventually the word was corrupted into Gibraltar, the Strait of Gibraltar from Gebel Tari. And this is in 7-Eleven. Now I'm going to skip here. So we had these Muslims developing from North Africa. Islam is coming, 16, this development here that's taking place. So we had Islamic influence spreading into North Africa and also into West Africa. And many were making the Hajj. And we should all remember the people and our brothers and sisters who died, over 1,000, as I understand, died on Hajj this year and from the heat. And it's a difficult journey. And it's even much better now than people who went earlier. But they got air conditioning in a lot of places, but they weren't able to access, so many of them died. Although it is said that when you down hard, you people go to the camera. But so what does that have to do with what I'm saying about this next slide that we're getting to here now? That is, in 1324, a great king there called Mansa Musa, he went on Hajj. And it is said that he took from some estimate from 50 to 100,000 people. That was, that on Hajj with him. That's more people than the soul. That was more people than all the Tyler when I was coming up in various other places. So he took 50 to 70 to 100,000 people on Hajj with him. And he was giving charity and sending out gold. And it said that he had one nugget of gold so big that he used it to tie his camel to. And so much gold was shared that it drove the price of gold down for a decade in the area. So this was Mansa Musa. And he went, and subsequently, he had somebody to come back and build and design the great mosque of Timbuktu, the great mosque there. But how did Mansa Musa get to be, Mansa means king? How did he get to be king? He got to be king because his brother, Abu Bakr II, who was the ruler, he was the king beforehand. But Abu Bakr had heard about these, that there were people, these old men. He heard about them in a place where the river, the ocean currents ran to the west. He wanted to find out where they were, wanted to find out where the setting sun was, wanted to investigate whether or not there were Africans over in this strange place that he heard about. So he sent out a flotilla, but while he was king, he sent out a flotilla of ships to investigate. And some say it was 200 ships. And then only one of them, as it said, came back. And he said he made it his mission. And it is said by some that he organized a flotilla of up to 1,000 ships. This is in history. 1,000 ships with supply ships and also for food and provisions to support them and also for the people. And he turned the kingdom over to Mansa Musa. That's how Mansa Musa got to be the master, got to be the king. And he set out on this voyage. Now, if you look at this next slide, Abu Bakr is born to America. This is in 1324. This is, Columbus is credited with 1492. So, when he sets out here, if you look at that picture, you see from West Africa there, in the Senegambia area, over there on the right side, you see that line going out. There are natural ocean currents that run from there to the Americas. So when you look at that line, there's a current that will take you right into the Gulf and take you right into that Yucatan area. And so this is also where the old men set up in La Venta, in that area there. And so Abu Bakr goes there and So now he's from West Side, from the Senegambia area. He's a Muslim, African Muslim.
Mhm.
Folks, some will say black Muslim. Some will say black Muslim. They're going down there. So, and it is said at one time, the migration of these, and they began to go into the Gulf, and some say they come to Big River. And they assume that to be the Mississippi, and they go all up the river, exploring, and you find all kind of artifacts there. And there's one book called King Tuba's Treasures or something. And you find them, even them Africans back earlier with the Romans and the Phoenicians. But when Abu Bakr and these different immigrants and different settlements that they set up, even in South America along the Brazilian coast. So you see, this is the line of Brazil here. You got the Mesoamerica, but you have Brazil there. And some say the name Brazil comes from Brazil, an African word. So they go there. And up and down that coastline, there it was found at one time to be in early development, 200,000 Muslims there. There were mosques there. There were people that called the Alimana, the Imam, they had communities there. 200,000 Muslims along this coastline. And to show that they were connected with Abu Bakr, they found a script of the Quran written in the Mandika style of lettering. So all of this is in the history, but hidden from us and not promoted. That there's, you know, I had given several years ago. I gave a lot of the biographies and people were born, but this it may be they came before Columbus, African presence in early America, Leo Wormers. I will send you fantastic biographies. I give you the opportunity. 7 years ago, that just so much. In fact, I've got to figure out now, when it's my time to check out, who I can leave my living to that would appreciate it too. I have a pretty decent library, and this is one of the big things about Muslims and Africans in Egypt. But they had large libraries. In fact, in Timbuktu, libraries were so prized, they were more valuable and more prized than it said in gold. They had a big library. And then several years ago, I was at the Dallas Public Library, and they had 10 or more full pages of a newspaper about the manuscripts that were found written in Arabic by these Mandinka people and these Tuba and other people in that area. And they had big full pages in the Dallas Morning News and the Fort Worth Star Telegram. I think I made copies of those. But so UNESCO worked to preserve some of these manuscripts, because a lot of the people they had in a home, they had buried, they had in a suitcase and another thing, so that these things were starting to deteriorate. Now, the sister down in Jackson, Okola, that we were on Hodge with in 2018, that was a Timbuktu exhibit that they had down in Jackson State at the convention. They have a permanent exhibit, Moorish Spain exhibit, and a Timbuktu exhibit in the convention center there. I've been a couple of times. Wonderful exhibit. But she had gotten some of these manuscripts from Timbuktu. Now, when I was a kid, a child coming up, they used to always threaten me, "Boy, we're gonna send you back to Timbuktu." And so, we didn't know Timbuktu represented our great. We know that Timbuktu or Timbo, but they used to threaten you that with a child. They thought you were being bad. They threatened you, "We'll send you back to Timbuktu." But at any rate, so they found all these manuscripts along this Quran written in Mandinka script along the Amazon this coastline here. They were able to tie that back to Abu Bakr. So this is a picture of Abu Mensa Muslim that succeeded his brother, and this is the rendering brother. The rendering. They also found many of the mosques in Cuba. And I suspect that the name Cuba, is related to the Arabic word for Caribbean. Caribbean, it means near. I suspect the Caribbean, those near islands, are related to that Arabic word, Caribbean. So struggling to recover. This is remembering our past. Struggling to recover. And I'm gonna just shortcut a lot of that. So the last Muslims that were in Spain, they were there from 711 up to 1492. And many of these buildings of the ships that Columbus used were built by the remnants of many of these Moorish people. Particularly among them was what's called the Negro Pinzon. Another book was the Golden Age of the Moors in Spain by Ivan the Third. But a lot of these ships that Columbus had were built by the Pinzon brothers. They also called the Negro Pinzon. And they were also, many of the Muslims navigators on Columbus's ship. And with also people like Big Cabeza de Vaca. We had Estebanico or Little Stephen, that was a Moor from Spain. He was part of the exploration of exploring with I think it was Cortez, exploring this new world. So we had a lot of, and a lot of them, they were expelled in 1492, the last stronghold. And the way that they were expelled, it is said that the last stronghold that they had, there was somebody that's going to lead them to the stronghold, and they told them to go and follow this path. And when you get to the fork in the road, when there'll be a cow's head up here, then you follow that path with the cow. And the person, the family that did that, they took the name. Anybody know the Spanish word for cowboy? Vaquero. And the Spanish word for head, cabeza. So this is how Cabeza de Vaca gets his name, his family name. Cabeza de Vaca, head of the cow. Because it was his family that gave the notification how you get to this last Muslim stronghold at Granada, that the car is named after. And just major cities in Spain, just like the place where I was born, which I always say in Toledo, Ohio. Toledo, Spain, known for its metals and swords. And we have the Toledo scale. But this science that came out of that, and other places where we had the Seville Cadillac, Seville, Spain. These are famous Muslim places in Muslim Spain. But you don't get the connection. So all of this is lost to you. So when they were expelled out of there, and many of them, many Jews that were expelled that enjoyed freedom and privilege under Muslim rule, and Christians, they cooperated together. And so the Morenos and Moriscos, they were expelled. And many were suffered persecution. They had the Spanish Inquisition, a whole lot of other things to get rid of them. And I'm not going to go into detail on that. But this exploration of the New World, this is after the Pope had divided the world in half between Spain and Portugal. Now, they developed the explorers, the Spanish explorers, their instruments were developed from Muslim astrolabes and other things. They had ships built by the Negro Pinzons and others. They used Muslim navigators. See, so all of this, and Columbus, when he's going over on his voyage, he saw the Africans. He saw Africans come back, and he got it in his journal. This is Columbus' journal, and he was very much aware of that. So I'm going to just have to work through. Maybe I'll take more time because Brother Memphis was able to participate. So this discovery of a new world brought about a need for new resources, new labor, and Muslims controlled most of the land routes, the spice trade, and other things. So they were trying to find a sea route to get to India. That's why Columbus was trying to sell it because Muslims controlled all of the land routes. So he's trying to get to India. And then he stumbled upon America. So this brought about a need. They began to search for new labor forces. And then they began to engage in the enslavement of Africa, because now these West African empires, they've gone into decline. They've gone into fitness. They're fighting against each other. And some of them are selling and capturing each other and selling them to the Europeans. And now the firearms are developing. So this is another thing that becomes a factor in that. Uh, so now we get to the transatlantic voyage, transatlantic slave trade. And this is a picture how we were loaded in, and you'll see a lot of this when we finish the African American Museum, the white man, loaded in boats like sardines, loaded in boats like that, and underneath the shells is one of these things. Yeah, you got maybe 290 slaves and 130 of them stored underneath shells, shackled together, pieces on each other. Some were so conditions so bad, many jumped over to drown, or to take their lives rather than be taken into slavery. So we have to remember our freedom and the circumstances that come into our lives to take that freedom away. And this is why I know, we have, we hope to see more young people and more participation. But look, and the Imam Muhammad asked us to do this. Not that this is to be a Muslim thing. He asked Muslims to come and to put their input in. We've had, I saw part of the John Legend and Patti LaBelle and Smokey Robinson, and we saw the presentation they had with the different athletes, and that's wonderful. But we're more than entertainers and athletes. We have a history of greatness, and we have to present that. So when we come into Juneteenth, we want to have the barbecue, we want to have the red soda water and all these good things. But we are, as Sister Oprah Lee says, I don't know how many of you wait to walk with her. Anybody else able to walk with Sister Oprah Lee? Yeah, so I was able to walk with her. And one of the things that she said at her walk, she said, freedom is not a destination, it's a journey. See? So we're still moving always to attain a more complete freedom and a more comprehensive freedom that allows us to execute our own authority over our own lives.
Right.
So this transatlantic slave trade, human cargo, we become chattel goods, we become assets for other people. So if we don't have freedom, we're not gonna have these good doctors that we got. We're not gonna have these engineers. We're not gonna have these professional athletes and other professional. We won't have any of that. So that's to let us know how important freedom is as a precursor for us achieving these other things. If you don't have freedom, you're somebody else's tool and slave.
That's right.
So that's how important. That's why our focus is. That's why freedom is so important. So we're gonna get some. These people that these were many Muslim enslaved scholars and other persons that were practicing that religion. That on the left we saw Abdul Rahman the Prince, and we saw years ago at the theater out of Mockingbird, Angelica, and his book. There's a book really called, based on the movie called Prince Among Slaves, Abdul Rahman. And I'm not going to go into his history because I don't have time. And then next, there's Omar Ibn Said, that's from in our association, I named a masjid after him in North Carolina, Omar Ibn Said Masjid. And then there's Job bin Solomon. Okay, he was a prince in, I believe, and he only was enslaved for 2 or 3 years. But Abdul Rahman was a slave, and his father was a king. And he was captured by slavers and sent to the America. He stayed for 40 years, but it was President John Quincy Adams and others who heard his story, and he was living right in the Arabic. They always talk about we didn't have any written tradition. Africans, they don't write. Yeah, they were living for years and centuries in Arabic. So Abdul Rahman finally got free, and he went around trying to get raise funds to buy his family and to free them. He got some of them, his wife, a lot of his children. He didn't leave, and he went back there, got back to his home country. This is interesting and a sad story. He died not too long ago. But most of these people, whether or not it's Abdul Rahman, Omar Ibn Said, they come out of this West African region called Senegambia, or Senegal, those other places are there. and then we have Yakimo, Mahmoud, and others. We're gonna skip on down to this next. So we had a whole, so when it was mentioned Harriet Tubman and her work on the Underground Railroad to bring us to freedom. And that's just a whole roll call that we could do, whether or not it's Nat Turner, whether or not it's Sojourner Truth, or whether or not it's Martin Laney, or whether or not it's Toussaint Louverture in Haiti, the First Republic. And they, I think it was 17, I can't think of the exact date it was, 1791, I believe. 1791 to 1802 was this revolution down in Haiti. And those people that came into Haiti found out now that they came from the Senegal area. And that's why it's so sad to see it being in shape and disarray that it is in. And when I was there some years ago, and we on the cruise, and I was talking to one of the guys there, and he was talking about the Toussaint Louverture and Dessalines. Dessalines is really the general that really took the revolution all the way through. And Toussaint Louverture ended up being taken, he went to France, and they locked him up and kept him in jail, and he died in jail there. But Dessalines was meant to push religion through, the revolution all the way through. And that's why they developed the camouflage fatigue and that kind of, because they didn't have anything up in the trees and everything else. And they defeated Napoleon's troops there. And because they defeated Napoleon's troops, then Napoleon needed money. I think it was 1802. And Napoleon needed money because they cost him so much to carry on that fight. That this is how Thomas Jefferson acquired the Louisiana Purchase and all of the land that went with that. Because they had Napoleon saw and he needed so much money. He sold this land to Jefferson, the United States, and this became a great big land acquisition for this country. It's not the law. I think it might have been the law. This man that you see up there now, Vicente Ramon Vieiro Saldaña, Afro-Mexican president of Mexico. He was one of the fighters in the liberation from the Spanish War of Independence, the Mexican War of Independence in Spain. And he was one of those generals in there, he and Juan Morales. And he became the second president of Mexico. His grandfather, I think, was of African origin. That's why he's Afro-Mexican, Hispanic. And he became the second president of Mexico. And it was him that outlawed slavery in Mexico. He outlawed slavery in Mexico. And so many of the Africans, when they had what's called the Trail of Tears, based on the policies of Andrew Jackson, who was a racist, extremist, brutal slaver. The one that we have the $20 bill on that they didn't want to exchange, Harriet Tubman, they promoted one to put her on the $20, but he's on the $20 bill, and they made all kinds of excuses. They didn't want to take him off the money, and he was a big slave, and he offered big rewards for any that would capture the slave and would treat and brutalize them and treat them harshly. Andrew Jackson in that Battle of New Orleans and all of that down off in there. Interesting. I have to go back and sometimes I go back. I can't get through all of it. I have to try to check myself. So this be upsetting.
Yeah.
It's upsetting.
Right. Well, yeah.
These people that you see here now, when he became president, a lot of the slaves, they ran away to Mexico because Mexico was a free state, a free country, and they didn't allow slavery. And these Muskogees, these are people part of the Seminole Indians that migrated out of Florida and went into Mexico. And they look Hispanic. They remember their Black Seminole heritage. And they celebrate Juneteenth. Every June 19th, they celebrate Juneteenth. This is the northern part of Mexico. They celebrate Juneteenth. These are Muskogee descendants. That This guy 18 about this begin the governor of Mexico, the governor of California. And this, he and his wife, see that picture there? And California was being sold, the majority of the people that sold back then, I don't know if it was 27, but 14 of the 27 families, they were African, people of African descent. And all that in Rodeo Drive and all of that, they had all that property, what, the big shopping and all that, they had all that property. Let me just skip on down here. So we had this picture of Honorable Elijah Muhammad and Dr. Martin Luther King and Dr. King and Malcolm X. They had, they had a lot of what we call vitriol in the language. See? But many don't know, Muslims, they kind of know him. This picture of Dr. King was invited to his home with Honorable Elijah Muhammad, and they met as friends. They didn't try to convince each other or something else. And but they had different strategies. So same thing with Malcolm, after he was the Nation of Islam, and then when he left, they had, some of that vitriol and receded. So we've had Monroe Charter and Marcus Garvey and W.B. Du Bois. So we've had all these different strategies, but we've been working for this common goal. So we have to learn how to reconcile these differences and work for this common goal. And it is and I'm about at the end of the slide. So this is 1963, the March on Washington. Emancipation was issued in January of 1863. It's not a coincidence that the March on Washington was 100 years later. That was on purpose. 100 years later, Voting Rights Act, 1965, it's all tied to that. In Texas, when it was Emancipation Proclamation was issued, it didn't free all the slaves. It only freed those slaves in the states that were in rebellion. If there were states that were in the Union that had slaves, it didn't free those slaves. They weren't free. Only with the passage of the 13th Amendment were they free. And subject to the 13th Amendment, then Dred Scott sued people and stuff because he was a slave and went to one place and he thought he went to a free state. So I should be free. I live in or reside in this free state, and he sued them. And they said, no, we don't recognize you as a citizen. You have no rights with the country's boundaries. So we've been working. So they passed the 14th Amendment for citizenship. Then later on, the right to vote. So that's why we get this 13th, 14th, 15th Amendment. So we have all these different strategies. And I've got one or two more. This is the man Muhammad that moved the Nation of Islam for this mythological language of W.D. Farrar that was a temporary language. He moved it from a mythological language to a universal language, brought us to the Quran, turned the light on. And the light is on. These pictures that you see up there, those are pictures of the National Museum. National Museum that comes about as a consequence of the work of Sister Opal Lee, the grandmother of the recent grandmother of this Juneteenth program. She marched, she got signatures and all this. But this is the museum that's been proposed. It is a $70 million project, 50,000 square feet of space with a big business incubator, 250-seat theater for cultural production, and for people who are not going to college, skill development. This is why this is important, and we don't even know about it. We're still sleeping on it, and it's really about 7 or 8 blocks, 6 or 7 blocks from the Mass Street in Fort Worth. Down, I'm trying to get back over here. So these are important things that we need to know. And so this is the last one here, and that's just the Opal League. And that's at the march, sit there at the march there, freedom. So we have to understand that this is an ongoing struggle that we have to be with. So we need to become more engaged in it and to realize how important it is. And then we have to, I ask you, so what will we do to do our part? Not the end, but a continuation. It's just a commencement, not a conclusion. So what will you do to advance the freedom? Dr. Mike, it's on you. The owner is on you. So next up, I think is the beer.
Allah Akbar. Allah Akbar. Allah Akbar.
We gotta get some smart in here. I know I don't need.
Okay.
I saw like.
Yes, sir.
Definitely interest. My interest is in those, the ghosts. And what I mean about the ghosts of the plantation. Because, I was fortunate enough to, get hold to, literature that I never should have, given out, that Imam Muhammad had mentioned. And it was how those who deal slavery and the purposes that they deal slavery for. And so I wrestled with, for a long time, I seen it before, and I seen that there was words, there's a G and there's a HOST. And I understood what the HOST was, that it was host. And I know what a host is, but I wrestled with that G. And I finally came up with what that G was, is that there's a goal that the slave makers who came up with the idea that they set, they had a goal that they wanted to live with us even after we was, emancipated. There's some things that in our genetic makeup that some of us get above, but some of us don't. And right now, they don't want people to go into the school, and they don't want them to talk about these ideas. But these ideas, they must be talked about. And I can tell you one thing that you can do yourself. You can actually go to the phone and you can figure these things out yourself. They're in the phone. All of these things in the phone. Now, I'm gonna close with this. I remember Imam Muhammad said this about the children, even before kindergarten. He said, don't talk to them, ga. He says, talk to them straight.
That's right.
Talk to them straight.
That's right.
Talk to them just like they grown up. You will say, well, now, how would they get that? Let me say this, it'll take me long. I remember he also told us that new area. Now listen to this. He said, when you going through Ramadan, he said, read it in the area. And everybody want to know. They asked him, so what if we can't read it in English? He said, don't matter. He said, your heart would understand. Because your heart, whether we know it or not, if you look at it, it's got Allah on it. It's got God on it, Allah on it. So the mind is the same way. If the mind has a goal and you started out right, then the mind will figure out the goal later on. I know many of us have said before that when our parents were hard on, I wish I knew what they were saying. I understand what they were saying. I know what they're saying now. I understand. Now I want to close with this. In kindergarten, you know how children are spontaneous. They compulsory. You know what I'm saying? Now I hear the man say this too. He said that when they make commercials on 13-year-old minds. That people are like kids. They keep people like kids. Now, there's one word I want to focus on, the K-I-N-D. Sound like kind. But there's another word come from that. It's K-I-N-D-A. And you know what that means? That means a feeling. They put words in you, they feel words in words that the words is not gonna get you where you're going. And if you don't understand our history, or we don't understand where we come from, where we're going, and stay on that mark, they put feelers in it. And we have to be able to delete those feelings. So I want to close with that, because that's all I have to say. I don't want to go no further.
Like beer? Like what? Assalamu alaikum.
I got a question.
Yes, sir, question.
I hear
Presentation that you saw,
Huh?
much of what you presented, we saw in the documentary by Sorry Nasheed called Hidden Colors. Has anybody seen it?
Yeah.
And it discloses a lot of things that are not taught in school, but they are afraid it's going to end up in school. But it can be seen in the Hidden Colors. Some of it you can get on YouTube, some of it you get on this free internet movie channels for free, or you can buy it. Just Google it and they'll tell you where to buy it. So it's called Hidden Colors by Narcisse. What is it? Narcisse Takwa Narcisse. That's it.
All right, bro. All right, assalamu alaikum. We have a young sister, her mother called and wanted, asked me could she perform? And I see the hands go, would mind her performing? Like beer, so, let's do this here, let's let her do her, she's a Muslim, and that's our coach, right? And this is Juneteenth celebration. Me personally, I grew up right here in Dallas. And let me see the hands of those who remember the colored water fountain. Colored water fountain. Who remember the colored only on the bus? And the library. Everything you couldn't just walk up and smack down. Sister, when you get ready, we're gonna let you. You want to do it right here?
Well, I guess
Okay.
that's okay. This area is
Well,
okay.
Imam Tyler told put it on me, so I'll put it on my shoulder. And I'll ask the Lord to forgive me. I don't think it's nothing wrong. Her dancing, just with her little dance. So we grew up, Sister Donna, see, we know about that. You couldn't walk in McDonald's and give me a Big Mac and order fries. You know, that's convenient now. You know, we had to go to the back door, is that right, Brother Bilal? Had to go to the back door to get your sandwich. When you're traveling, all right, she's ready to go. Let's give her attention. Just turn around and we'll give her, all right. Allahu Akbar. So, you know, brothers and sisters, while we're waiting on her to get going, what I want to offer to us as people, as human beings, and in our life, what we've struggled with and came to this conclusion where we at now, we have to struggle. You know, and I know all my life, I've been struggling here in America. It was a struggle. Struggle to be free, struggle to be your own man. Before the Nation of Islam, we had to struggle to be who we are, to be a man. So the struggle keeps going. That's what the whole life is about, a struggle. The people that just came off the hard is a struggle. And Imam Muhammad said that when you're on hard, the struggle. You ready? I'll finish up when you get through that. Got another one. You have another one, or she done? Are you finished? All right, thank you. Right. Hold it without administration on review. I just got a few things here I just want to put on our heart and mind. If it's on your heart, right, then your mind, the heart dictates to the mind. But if it's not on your heart, it ain't right. That's Quran and that's Quran. The heart This is the essence of the human being. So we have to continue and commit to our struggle. If we talking about our young children here, we have to teach them, educate them of the world that we live in. Even at this time, right now, we are being buried alive. You know, like back in the days of the Jahiliyyah, when they buried the young girl alive, we as men and women and children are being buried alive. Challenge me with that. I had one brother challenge me with it, but he couldn't see it because it wasn't on his heart. So he's not looking at the world through his heart. He's looking at it through his mind. See? But the intellect follows the heart, right? Correct yourself with your heart. Correct your intellect, right? All of us that's Muslim, that's what Sajda is. When we go down in Sajda, and the brain go down, the heart is over the brain. Now this is the language of Imam WD Muhammad, and that freed us. And we didn't take no shahada from the immigrant world. We taking our shahada from Imam WD Muhammad. And we have to respect him. We don't worship him, we love him and respect him. And if you love and respect Imam WD Muhammad, you love and respect Prophet Muhammad, sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Can't get around that. Or no, you have to respect each, like we have to respect each other as Muslims, as believers. Right? Is that right, Brother Mansour? All that's real. The prophet, he was real. He was mystical and mystical. He was a human being just like us. He wasn't a spirit, he wasn't a spook, but he was an example. So for us in this day and time, what slavery did for us, the physical slavery, it traumatized us. It shocked us. We still in a shock. Is that right, Samira? We're still in a shock. We're still in a shock. We walk around in a shock to death. Like we've been hit with electricity. We just dumped it. Yeah, and we're following someone else that's something, but we're the light. We have the light to lead the world, to lead the whole world, right? Allahu Akbar. And I'm gonna quit with this one, because we ain't got that much time while we clean it up. We have to be community conscious. Okay? Community conscious. So we need to, this is a good gathering for us as Juneteenth. I would like for all of us to take a group picture together before we leave here. Take a group picture, and that picture be here 100 years from now. Huh? Like if you be on Facebook and you see all those pictures, all those older brothers and sisters standing there with those canes and dressed up nice. They have enough intelligence to take a picture so that you can see it. I can see it. Is that right, Brother Ansar? Huh? So we'll do that. Take a nice big picture and show Houston, Atlanta, New York, LA that we're alive in Dallas, Texas. Allahu Akbar. And that we love our leadership. You know, the man don't lose his manhood by respecting the leader, because Allah said, I will send you a leader. I'm gonna send that leader to my people. And he sent us a leader. He sent us Imam WD Muhammad. Huh? All he did was teach La ilaha illallah Muhammad Rasulullah. Huh? When all them other guys, Father Khan, all them other guys, they quit on him in 1978. That's for those of you that don't know. Some of y'all know. But they quit on him in 1978. Wahad, Father Khan, I can name some more. And Imam Muhammad was on Hajj with 800 Hajjis. He was on Hajj with 800 Hajjis. And them Negroes quit on him up in New York and say, them Negroes said he was a government agent. Huh? Can you imagine that, slandering that brother? Because he was teaching us Al-Islam. So I used to go up in them jails and prisons and teach them roughneck brothers. They come out, they're roughneck Muslims in the penitentiary. You know, and we were trying to show him Imam Muhammad over these other people. right? So that when they come out, be a decent man, get you a job, get you a wife, open your business up. You know, don't come out here with that game. Don't come out here with that macaroni. This religion ain't about no game and no macaroni. Huh? And that was in our first stage, Brother Bilal said, he smiled. We went through the first resurrection was in Christianity in them streets. Is that right, Bilal? That was the first resurrection. Second resurrection was the NOI. That was the second resurrection. That's for some of you brothers and sisters that don't know. But we're traveling and we have to commit to struggle. Huh? Jihad means to struggle. Struggle to learn to read the Quran, struggle to learn the Sirah, struggle to raise your children up. You can't beat them and whoop them and make them be Muslim. All you can do is be an example for us. Allahu Akbar, right? That's the only thing we can do. We have to be examples for each other. So for my little script here for this, my little talk here for this Juneteenth. We've been doing it all out. I remember when we was about this kid's age here. My granddad, my dad, my uncle, my aunts, grandmother, we all celebrated Juneteenth. Huh? That we loved that. That was part of we look forward to Juneteenth. But we got away from that. The world designed it where we got away from that. This guy, what's his name? This guy named, let me see if I can find his name here. Thomas Damont, right. He was an entertainer. He was a Caucasian, and he would take the corn chuck that they burned, and he make himself black. Anybody know about him? And he was the first one in entertainment that he was a white man, but he covered his face with smut. Blackface. And he was an entertainer. So that's why we got all this rap, this crap, you know, that you entertain, except in your head. I'm talking to the young sisters and brothers now. You start digesting that, but he was the father of that. He's the one that brought that to us. A white man pretending he was a black man. Excuse me, on TV, in the movies. So we need to wake up to what's going on with us today as a people. Gentrification is killing us all across the country. Gentrification is killing all of our land, houses, where we ain't no more North Dallas. There's no more East Dallas. Go out to West Dallas and see what gentrification is doing. So I'm talking now about business. I'm talking about politics. Religion, all this is in here. So we have to constantly be educating ourselves, reading and getting ourselves to where we can keep coming up. It don't stop. It's a struggle. It says seek knowledge from the cradle to the grave. You'll never stop learning how to be your true self. So I think Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, I got back to my true self. I'm a free man in Dallas, Texas. I'm a free man in America. I'm a free man in the world. I go to Biden. I won't vote for him. But I'll go to him and I'll teach him. I'm not going to vote for Trump. I got a brother arguing over there. Oh, man, that's a killer. This man stands up killing people. He allowed people to bomb poor people. And he won't tell them to stop. He had the power to stop it. But we know deep that his pappy, his daddy, is a sacrifice. This is more politics.
And get the rest of them.
We have no one in Washington.
Yeah, all of them.
Politics that's getting up. Is that right, Brother Mansur? No bills being passed, no statutes being passed. That's going to help us.
That's for your good work. Yep.
All right. So that's what the part of the Emancipation Proclamation was. Over and getting 40 acres in the mule too. Not only just freeing your physical body, See, but if you don't free your mind and your heart, you're still a slave. You're still being ruled and dictated by a system that's invisible that you can't see. And the Quran is the only thing that will liberate you. Not just reciting the Quran, but learning it and understanding it with tafsir, and then put it on your heart and live it. That's what I'm looking for. Like there, yeah, let's line up everybody. We're gonna take a okay, group picture. Those that want to be on it. Yeah, the other day he was scared. He was scared to talk about politics. I said, man, you're a Muslim. You're scared. You're scared to talk about politics. You only feel yeah. Okay, let's do this now, brother. I'm gonna take a second, so let's start, guys. Historical. This is let me get his name.
Keith, get your phone.
Oh, come on. All right, well. I got brother Ansari on there. I'm sorry. Got it? All right. Yeah, great.
Yes, sir.
I know that was long lecture. All right, take this on with you. Huh? Yeah, I did. Thank you. This is for you. Did you have one of those? Okay, this is that's the actual 99 attribute of a law, and this here, when you get your frame, put this in, go to the thrift store and find your frame. Yeah, but it's business, but it's Juneteenth business. It's so- I know. His health ain't good enough to do that. Like he ain't strong like he needs to be. Okay. In the middle.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. Hey, fellas, let's calm down. We finna take a group picture, so just calm down. Okay? Get your wing. You want to do something in the front? Okay. Y'all stop. Get out the way. Grab it. You trying to do something with people?
Mhm.
And grab it around. Sure. That's it. You know how you doing, man? You still got a lot of work like that. You got a knife out in there, man. Oh, get it.
Mine too. Mine did.
Khalil, go me. Boomy, let's get over here, man, slow down. Samad girls. Dude. You scared of like family, huh? So, I'm here. Bring him, bring it, set him on the end over there, man. And slow down on the horse playing. Yeah. Huh? You need to come in. All right, here, brother, we got two more back that need to come up. We need to come in. We all right? Huh? Yeah, we got
iPhone, take a picture and just and do it like that and get and it blows it up. Yeah,
oh, who got an iPhone? Who have an iPhone? I don't have an iPhone. Whoever can have an iPhone, they can take it.
Yeah, they got an iPhone.
Yeah.
They take the whole group.
Oh, yeah, they got tech. They don't know about technology.
Yeah.
Got one sister over there, she's doing something. Allahu Akbar. Takbir. Allahu Akbar. Allahu Akbar.
Come on. Mr. Robbins got me.
Yeah. Allahu Akbar. Yeah. Allahu Akbar.
Okay.
Come in.
Oh, yeah, we gotta send it to him, brother. Okay, now we're finna get, this sister finna take it a bit. Allahu Akbar. Allahu Akbar. Thank you. Thanks.
Put that in Muslim girl. Dallas, Texas. I'm rolling. Walaikum